Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming on board. Today, we're going to talk about the power of group intention and why we need it during these stressful times. So I am really excited to see people on Zoom, and I'm really excited to see people on Facebook. And I wanted to talk about the power of intention and group intention to help you with everything that you're going through now. And by showing you, rather than just telling you, I think this is going to be more powerful. So I'm going to share with you a few slides that are about other people and what has happened to them during group intention. Because before I show you, I want to just talk to you about probably the most stressful thing we go through as human beings, and that is isolation. We need community, we need belonging more than we need air or food, to be honest. I've done a great study of this in my book, The Bond. I've written about it. And I looked into the power and the need for belonging because I was looking at whether or not human beings should be isolated and competitive or whether or not they should be communal. And I found that one of the real basic human needs is belonging. I mean, when societies in the past have wanted to punish someone, the greatest punishment they can do is isolation and ostracizing someone. You know, over here in the UK, they call isolating a young girl at a boarding school, sending her to Coventry, which means for a whole term, nobody speaks to her. And that is like the ultimate punishment. And that's true in adult society, indigenous societies, modern societies. So here we all are isolated, even though we know from the science that being part of a community protects us against everything. Heart attacks, half of all heart attacks occur because people are lonely. Stroke, even the common cold. So groups are really powerful, a powerful antidote to that. But an even more powerful antidote is when we're all thinking a healing intention all at the same time. I've seen this, I've experienced this thousands of times. I have thousands of participants whose lives have been extraordinarily changed, where they've been able to get over depression and all sorts of things just through the power of connection, the power of eight. So if you've never heard about Power of Eight groups before, I discovered these by accident when just trying to scale down group intention, the group intention experience. When I put people into small groups of 8 or so, doesn't have to be exactly 8, and had them send healing intention to a member of the group with a health challenge, miraculous things happened from the start. We had people with cataracts who were 80% better. We had people who were crippled by knee arthritis who were walking suddenly normally. We had people who were scheduled for surgery who could cancel it. We had reversals of cancer, of stroke, of so many life-threatening situations. And we also saw this in other aspects of their lives. It was extraordinary. So I don't want to just tell you about this. I want to show you. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I know that you are, and everyone else out there is suffering with uncertainty, isolation, fear, stress, through all of the issues we're going with COVID-19, we're going through all of the issues of our political upheaval in America and elsewhere, through all of the worry about, well, now what? And what's going to happen? And should we believe what we're being told or not? And whom can we trust now? So I want to talk to you about how the power and support of a group can get you through this difficult time. So I'm going to show you how powerful this really is by sharing my screen and putting on a couple of videos of other people who have healed through this. So let me share this with you. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so this is one 10-minute group intention. This is just the first time this person, who was part of an audience I had a year ago in London, I gave a talk, and after the talk, I put people in groups of 8 or so, had them do healing intention to a member of the group with a health challenge. And here was Maya. And Maya was paralyzed from the neck down, an idiopathic paralysis. No one understood why. She was a young woman. Her doctors didn't know. She was suddenly paralyzed, and this was tragic because she's a dancer. She loves to dance. So watch now. She was the last person I asked to give feedback on. After this 10-minute intention, I had each of these groups do for one member of the group.
I'm okay, I don't need you. I am in a wheelchair. I became paralysed from the neck down in January this year, within the space of 2 hours. And I'm a contemporary dancer, and there's nothing wrong technically. So I recovered. I had 3.5 weeks half walking, and then it happened again in April, and I kind of recovered-ish until July, and then they just keep coming and going. My legs just come and go. It's mostly my legs at the moment. So my legs went again on Sunday, and I've not been able to stand for this long. Wow. I can just stand. Yeah. And dance is my absolute love. I'm a dance teacher, and I love moving more than anything in the world. And I'm really so beyond grateful, because I know the whole group were just visualizing me dancing and showing that I am just free. And that was the massive message I got. And I felt this massive buzz throughout my whole body from you all. It was like the most amount of love I've ever felt. So thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, and I caught up with Maya some months later, and she talked to me about the experience, and she was still experiencing movement, but she talked to me about what was powerful for her. The most powerful thing of all was she'd felt, as she said, more love than she's ever felt before in her life. But it was so powerful, it was almost more than she needed, and she sent it on. She sent some of it on to a relative she had with cancer. And it was that moment, she said, that her wheelchair felt like it was falling through the floor. And that's when she really felt like she was healing. Now, that was just one 10-minute intention. But I want to encourage you about ongoing group intention, because I want to show you what it can do. The amazing things it does, I've seen over and over again. For instance, I decided around 2015 to have year-long Power of 8 groups, and to see what would happen if I put people in groups for a year and had them intend for each other every week. Here's a couple of examples of the people that got healed. Allison, for instance, had vitiligo and began repigmenting. Marianne was living in the most northern part of Canada, doing a job she hated as a lab assistant. She could barely even speak when she was part of my group and part of a retreat. And at the end of her Power of 8 group, here she is. She quit her job to go do counseling, which she loved, and there she is riding a purple motorcycle. We had Jolie, kind of housewife superstar, who was desperate to be an entrepreneur and whose husband was completely against it, till she was part of her Power of 8 group and completely turned that around. He, with the help of her group's intention, he became very supportive, and she started her own business. And Bev, born with a port wine stain, who was down to essentially her last 200 pounds. She lives over here in the UK. And with the help of her group and intention, she suddenly got an enormous windfall from Lloyd's of London, enabling her to start a website and a business helping people to love their birthmarks. Lisa, a bodywork practitioner, was desperate to write a book about her breakthrough knowledge of how to heal trauma through bodywork. But she'd never written a book before. She was getting nowhere. She was on her third editor. She was part of a Power of 8 group and still getting nowhere. So I said to her, why don't you start intending for someone else? She did. And the moment she did, she had this fortuitous and unexpected and unrehearsed meeting with someone in a store who turned out to be an extraordinary editor, writer, and book coach who walked her through the process, and she ended up with an Amazon bestseller. And Melissa, who was, she didn't marry Johnny Depp, if you're wondering there, that's her in Disneyland, but she wanted to start a new career, had absolutely no leads, and suddenly with the help of her group, she ended up getting fast-tracked to a dream job. And Trudy, who regained most of her hearing through her Power of 8 group. And here's one of the other ones too, Mitchell Dean. He'd like to retain anonymity. He is a clinical psychologist who suffered from lifelong depression, which is not a good look for his profession. And he was in a group, I used to name, and I still name groups in my year-long courses by certain things. That year we had everybody named after Greek gods. So we had Helios as one of them. And he was part of a group called Helios. So he was suffering from terrible depression, and his group intended for him to find the source of his depression. And that he had some inspiration right after that group intention to go see a Chinese herbalist. And that herbalist said, I'm wondering if one of your liver filtration systems is working. That had never been identified before. And as soon as they got it checked out, he got it fixed. And lo and behold, the depression lifted. And here's his own story in his own words. It wasn't just the depression that lifted. Listen to what else happened to him over that year.
What happened right around the beginning of that time was realizing that a lot of this is related to how my liver processes toxins. And that had never been named in all the years I'd been working on this. And suddenly it became apparent that the second level of liver filtration apparently wasn't working very well. And we got a hold of that one, began to treat that with herbs and supplements, and it really helped. I think, though, there's something more synergistic than just an allopathic idea that this cured the depression. It was like at the same time, I found my Qigong practice was getting a much deeper. My meditations were deeper. I was finding I was much more able to just take better care of myself. During that Helios time, my practice got much more interesting, and I began to integrate ways of working that I'd wanted to do for years that had never quite worked. And so all of those have their own sort of antidepressant effect, right? It was like everything got healthier. It doesn't go nearly as deep. It doesn't happen nearly as often. I can still have blue days, but they feel more like blue days instead of really, really heavy ones. And so it's made a huge difference. Yeah. In that same process, I lost a good 15 pounds. Yes. I mean, it was such an interesting time. My trainer at one point kept joking, I don't know what's going on with you, man. It's like you're aging backward. Like this shouldn't be possible at 45 that your muscle mass is going up while your body fat's going down, working out once a week. What exactly are you doing, man? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It was fun. And so, yes, I started to write about the gray sequence, and I'm still working on that, but made a lot of progress during that time with Helios. And I don't know, it was really fun. There's something mysterious about it. And, the psychologist in me was wondering that all year. It's like, what exactly is going on here? Surely some of it is that we stop and we're paying attention to ourselves in better ways. I'm sure a little bit of it is that Chinese idea that qi follows thought, right? So that could be some of it. I wasn't really thinking about a number of things that started to happen. I didn't go in with a goal of changing depression. I want to say it feels almost karmic in that work. So there we are, doing deep intention work for somebody who's wanting to have a baby and having a really hard time getting pregnant, who's not even in our group, or working on somebody's cancer or MS. And there's something beautiful that I think happens in the natural flow of life, that as we send out, it naturally comes back. And we don't do a lot of sending out.
And I started realizing that that was one of the secret sauces, not necessarily having to be the recipient, but also being the sender. So, and I found that also being a sender is so powerful when you have stress and depression. And a perfect example of that is a guy called Wes Chapman. A few years ago, I decided to have a kind of an experiment with the Mile High Church in Denver, Colorado. And I asked to just randomly get two groups together, for them to get two groups of volunteers of 8 or so, and they could be part of a Power of 8 group. I was just going to try one thing with them, just one Power of 8 group with each, just to see what would happen. So Wes volunteered, and at the time he suffered from really deep depression. What's the use depression? And the reason was his life had not gone according to plan. He had planned to be a biochemist or even a doctor. He was smart. He was at university. And then the last year of his university training, studying biochemistry, he got drafted. And this was the last year of the Vietnam War, when there were no more student deferments. So he got sent to Vietnam, and the whole experience was so traumatic for him that he came back deeply traumatized, didn't return and finish university, went home, and his life continued to go down that terrible downward spiral of depression. He found the love of his life, but that didn't last long. He lost her to a very fast growing cancer, and their medical bills were so great, he had to sell his house to pay them back. And on it went, to the point where when I met him at 65, he was essentially had given up. It was too difficult for him to do much besides get up in the morning. And the only solace he had was his church, his New Thought church. So he was part of this group. He was going to put himself forward as a receiver, but there was a member of the group with really advanced cancer. So he thought she was more deserving. So he was just a sender. So listen to what happened to him the night after he sent to her.
I went to bed, and the next morning when I woke up, it was an amazing thing. I felt, the first thing I felt was this energy. It was like the wheels are moving. It's like I can do what I need to do and do it happily. The second thing is amazingly heightened sensory awareness, as well as the emotions that go with the sensations. Like I had a cup of herbal tea and it like knocked my socks off. It's like, wow. And even like doing the dishes was, I could feel the self-love. You know, we all think, well, it's wonderful to take care of yourself, and this is an act of self-love and self-care, and it's easy to think that, but to feel it, you know, the chores are actually fun. And I noticed, went outside a little bit, and I noticed flowers and trees are just so beautiful. It's like all my senses were multiplied by, I don't know, 5 or 10. And one of the surprising things, too, is I definitely had got in the habit of avoiding people. I tried to minimize my social contact, you know. And now it's like when I see someone coming, it's like I automatically feel enjoyment. It's like it just happens so fast. I don't have time to think about it. Here's a person. Wow, how are you? You know, and these good feelings come so quickly and so easily. When I went to bed that night, now this is the second night after the experience, I woke up in the morning with a clear memory of the most lucid dream is what a rational person would call it. I call it a vision. It was so clear and powerful. I found myself back on the campus that I was at where I was drafted, and where, you know, I sweated that out, and there was a chapel there that I always liked, and I walked past it every day, and it's like maybe the only sacred space on that campus. And this is not easy to describe. My 19-year-old self was waiting for me, and I felt the most powerful emotions of love and connection and joy. It's like all of his high hopes, all of his beautiful dreams, all of his optimism, all of his youthful energy, you know, it's like, wow. Somehow I left all that behind, you know, in that trauma, in that when I dropped into survival mode just to take my draft physical, and God help me, you know, I guess I left that behind. But to meet him again, and he's been waiting there so patiently for me, and it's like, I got it back. Now with my experience and wisdom and strength and toughness, and, you know, his optimism and hope and joy, it's like, hey, I get to start life all over again at 65. I've done a lot of work over the years, but this is the most phenomenal, the most powerful, and the most direct.
I want you also to remember, everyone, that was only one Power of 8 group, one 10-minute intention, changed Wes's life. He suddenly became, you know, like Scrooge on Christmas morning, where he suddenly wakes up and he's a completely new person. Well, Wes was like that, saying hi to everyone, starting power runs and power walks and weightlifting again when he had been barely able to get up in the morning, suddenly engaging with the church and doing Power of 8 groups, which he does regularly now, studying new things, getting involved, wanting to write, doing all these things. His life, as he said, just started all over again based on one group experience. So my question, and has been over all these years, is why? Why should this be so powerful? And I was lucky enough to work with Life University, the world's largest chiropractic university and most prestigious. And they put their neuroscience department at my disposal. And we did an intention study looking at 7 groups, Power of 8 groups. What's going on here? Thinking it was going to look just like meditation. And it wasn't at all. Then we found completely the opposite to meditation, a lowering of all the parts of the brain, and this is all the different brain waves, lowering, not a raising of parts of the brain that make us feel separate, make us feel alone. And we've also found a lowering of the parts of the brain that are involved in worry, doubt, negativity. They were also dialed way down. And so these were people in a state of ecstatic oneness, brainwave signatures almost identical to those of Buddhist monks during ecstatic prayer or Sufi masters during chanting. Studies that were done by the University of Pennsylvania of both sets of groups showed outcomes almost identical to ours. So these were people in a state of ecstatic oneness. So I asked them what it felt like, and I continue to ask people what it feels like.
You know, what I believe in that group of 8 was opening directly to source, to each of our hearts, and this huge expanse of awareness of a universe, you know, bigger than any of us. It's a sense of wellness and well-being that I can't say I've experienced before.
Intention in this group and in a group does something very powerful to the body and mind that, and all of us are meditators and do a lot of, you know, personal growth work, that we don't get that anyplace else, and we can't do that by ourselves.
I felt the energy running through our hands. I felt the vibrations in the room change. I felt a very sort of special atmosphere was being created. I don't know, high vibration, very pure, little piece of heaven, call it what you want. But there was something that seemed to me that there was something special in that room.
And that is the thing. There is this altered state of oneness, essentially a fast track to the miraculous. And in Wes's case, as it can be in yours, a way to overcome stress, a way to feel connection, feel support, feel like somebody's got your back. And here's the great thing. It doesn't have to be just one time. If you set up a Power of 8 group, this is how you will feel every week or even several times a week, however often you meet. And so I want to recommend to all of you that you can set up a virtual Power of 8 group right on Facebook. I've set up a group called Connecting and Healing Through the Power of 8, and it's free to everyone to join. You can come in and join and just advertise where you are in a time zone and get yourself a virtual Power of 8 group, because all of the people I've talked about met regularly in Power of 8 groups that were virtual. Many of them, like Mitchell Dean, or all of those groups I said, Allison and Trudy, etc., met virtually with their groups. They've met years virtually. They consider it their intention family, but they've never actually physically met. Now, the other thing, if you want to study this with me, I also wanted to tell you about my Power of 8 Masterclass 2021. I've just opened the doors to it. And what you do with that is you work with me for a whole year. I teach you classes, and I put you in groups of 8 for a whole year, and I do what I did with Mitchell Dean. I monitor it week by week by week. I give you tips, I give you guidance, I give you all that sort of stuff. So if you actually want to study with me, please check out my website, lynnmctaggart.com, and just go under courses. It's my new website, by the way. Do check it out. We're really excited about it. It's nice and simple. Just go under courses and check out Intention Masterclass, and it'll give you all the information if you're interested in it. So that's my website, lynnmctaggart.com. So now I want to stop this share and come back and talk to you and maybe answer some of your questions. If you've got some, put them in the chat. If you are a participant on this on the Zoom call, I can answer some of your questions, and with some of the others who are on Facebook, I can answer them now or later. And I also want to lead us in a short Power of 8 group to help heal you and allow you to lower stress during this time. So let me answer some of the questions that I've got here on my chat. So we've got people from all over the world, which is so great. So someone has said, should a group focus on the intention of group members only, or can we send intentions of others out of the group? Absolutely. I mean, you saw in one of the talks with the woman who said, what meditation does, what group intention does to the body and mind. Andy Spiros was getting group intention for herself. And it wasn't really working. So I told her to get off of herself. And she did. And when she started intending for a young boy outside of the group who had tried to commit suicide and was in terrible, messed up shape, immediately, not only did the boy, Luke, have an extraordinary, almost miraculous healing. We were doing healing intentions for him every week. But Andy had a major turnaround in her life, and the thing she was stuck with, trying to get a new job, completely turned around. She got a call out of nowhere and got offered her dream job. So the short answer to that is you can intend inside the group, or you can intend for someone outside the group. So do you see this happening at a distance? I always see it happening at a distance because all of these groups are virtual. Some of the people are 500 miles apart. Some of the people are thousands of miles apart, and it still works. The people are physically together, but they're oftentimes, as I said, all of my master classes, people are put in groups in the same time zone, but nobody is in the same place. So it is miraculous. And I've seen intention work over thousands of miles. I mean, we did an intention experiment when I was in Sydney, Australia, with an audience, and we sent intention to seeds in Tucson, Arizona. They were 8,000 miles apart, and yet we had a powerful effect on those seeds. They grew significantly higher than controls. What happens, I think, in a group is that we have an amazing psychic internet that goes on. So Melissa asked, how many people are in the groups I make in the master class? We do up to 12. It depends on the groups, you know, and the main thing is it doesn't have to be 8. It can be 5, it can be 12. I try not to do more than 12. And the reason we do 12 is sometimes people don't all show up, and it's nice to have a decent sized group. Is the result similar in a Power of 8 group that individually intends throughout the week? No. Something about the group, and that's from Jennifer, something about the group effect supersizes it. Do I think Power of 8 is more powerful with strangers or familiars? I like that. I like that question. And that's Diane. I think it gets powerful as the group coalesce, but look at the effect on Maya. You know, we got a paralyzed person to walk for the first time. I've seen that over and over and over again. I do find that as the group coalesces and you're working together week after week after week, there's a power cohesion in the group that becomes extraordinary. So that's why I think our masterclass people about, you know, when they meet regularly, this is really with the people who meet regularly. With people who don't, you know, who kind of sample it and then give up, I don't see the same results with it. But if people are willing to commit to meeting weekly in my masterclass or elsewhere, that's where they see the really extraordinary effects. Someone says, how do I quiet the mind, says Lenora. And well, there's a whole batch of techniques that I teach. Really working with the group is one powerful method to do that. You don't have to quiet it to the point of you think of nothing. It's not like you have to think of a mantra. What you're thinking about is the intention statement, and you're also visualizing it coming true. Lucienne says, do we need permission from the person to send intentions? We send intentions to, yes, unless they're unconscious or children. Can we use the Power of 8 as well to do distance healing to places, cities, and planet Earth in general? Or do we have to create the intention more specifically? Well, that is from Sandra, and I love that question. That's exactly what I do within the intention experiments, is we focus on an area of the world that needs healing. But even there, it's important to be specific. That's, again, one of the things I teach all the time, is how to be specific and why it's so important. It's central. We've tried it so much the other way. And when we do send love, for instance, to water, it doesn't do anything, not anything significant that we can measure. Once we've worked with scientists and we've asked specifically to change pH, then we get an effect. So we meet weekly as a group and wonder if it helps to also intend individually for that same person during the week. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that it is, you know, it is very powerful as a group. If meeting on Friday or Saturday that lets Jews out, I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. If you're saying that, can you do it on any other time besides Friday or Saturday? Yes, of course. Can intentions be done for global transparency and honesty with statistics and information regarding the COVID information that's out there? Is that too broad an intention? I think it is too broad. I think you need to focus specifically on something like a specific government. Let's see, let me check some of the Q&A that's here. How many people are in each group I'm making the masterclass? As I say, about 12. Is this work different from the law of attraction? Yes, it is. I think that there are certain similarities, but I've tried to combine. I worked with a lot of intention masters, Qigong masters, master healers, and Buddhist monks. And I put that together with what was working in scientific laboratories. And so it created my powering up formula, and they are essentially 13 keys to intention mastery. Okay, and let me see if I can post this here. I am going to type something later. If you want to check out how to be part of the Intention Masterclass, my team are saying, go to lynmctaggart.com/courses/intention-masterclass. And you'll see there the Power of 8 Intention Masterclass 2021. And we are offering a early bird price too, I should let you know. Can a group work to neutralize certain energies like 5G in a whole country? That is a very broad intention, but you can try doing intention to focus on protection of certain people. And I would try doing that. We've done, we've focused very specifically on our intention experiments. Remember, we focused on lowering violence, for instance, in St. Louis, Missouri, or we've tried to lower the injury and death rate in Sri Lanka. We've set intentions to help rebuilding in Beirut recently. We did an intention to lower violence in Jerusalem. We focused on a specific area. Do we have to tell out loud the intention to the others in the group? Oh yeah, you all have to hold the same intention together. Can I discuss powering up we have from Facebook? Well, that is difficult because it's a course essentially. There are 13 keys to intention mastery. I have a lot of material in my book, The Power of 8. I have a lot of material in my book, The Intention Experiment, and I have even more on my course. But I will tell you this, it is important to hold that intention together. It is important to virtually be together or in person be together. And it is important to be specific. Okay, and so one person, Jeff, says he's not feeling any results. Well, I think that I think you need to keep working on it, Jeff, and also get off of yourself. During and start intending for someone else. Must you intend for the same person during the intention? Yeah, one at a time. How do we have to set the intention for the same case if the person feels nothing's changed? Well, keep trying it. Keep trying it. Then go in baby steps. Go one session at a time. So you focus on one aspect of their healing, then another aspect of their healing, or that they find the right practitioner or the right therapy to heal them, for instance. And so take it in baby steps and move off of that intention, try something else. Just make sure to be specific. Okay. How can I send an intention to protect me from negative intention, thoughts, and energies in my environment? That's another big question, Samaha. I, again, teach this in my master class, a full way to protect you from your own negative thoughts and all the negative thoughts and energies in your environment. I don't believe in creating blockades. If we're all one, I don't believe, one of the powerful things about a powerful group is being part of a collective. And so you don't really want to block yourself off, but there are ways to hold your own life energy, to stay in your truth. And there are a number of things I suggest that you do. But one of the things that you can try doing is just focus on what are you here to do? Now, what are the reactions of the medical world? Don't medical doctors feel sort of threatened by this healing approach? I don't really care. I think medical doctors, there are two kinds of medical doctors. There are some, and they come, many of them are on my courses, who really want to learn more about unconventional medicine and things that are working in all kinds of alternative areas. I just ran with my team our Get Well show, which featured 48 people, practitioners and integrative specialists who are using unconventional approaches that are working. So this is one more healing modality. And as I say, I was as surprised as anyone that this was working. I was shocked, actually, and disbelieving. And that's why it took me over 10 years to write about this and to publish a book on it, The Power of Eight, because I was frightened by it. And I also thought, why me? You know, I'm just a journalist. Why am I getting this information? Why am I witness to all of this? And that's why I spent so much time trying to understand it, prove it, test it out, and then now teach it. So that's why I need to get it out to the world, I guess. I think that is the answer to it. Somebody said to me something that has really affected me. They said, "You are doing more than research. You are breaking open people's hearts." And I think, to me, that is what's so powerful about this work, is I am not doing anything. I'm just teaching you and showing you what's already inside of you, what's locked inside of you, that capacity, that ability that you have, you've always have, but you've always had it, but it's been hidden from you because it's been poo-pooed by teachers, by authority figures. And I just want to help you reclaim it. What you have to heal yourself, heal each other, and heal the world. And that's what I have to give. I am a gatekeeper. I am somebody who can show you how to do this. So somebody else said, "I see the master classes on Saturday starting in February for 2 hours each. Has the time already been set?" The reason I've made it 2 hours is in times past, we've run it for 90 minutes. It's always gone to 2 hours. And the other reason is so I can put a lot of experiential stuff right in that live session. So what I tend to do is I interact with my audience. I keep it strictly limited so that I can work with you and our team can put you into groups. We do experiential exercises right on the calls themselves, on the webinars themselves. You can ask questions at various times. I put you into smaller groups and let you practice the stuff, and then we can bring you back out into the main room too. That's why it's over 2 hours. It starts on February 6th. We run it at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and that's 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. Europe. Can a group be less than 8 persons? Yes. I've seen it work with 4 and 5. I've seen it work with 12 or 13. 8 is kind of a Goldilocks figure. It's not too big, it's not too little. Where can I find the Get Well show about alternative healing? Well, try getwell.solutions, but we just ran it, although we are looking into ways of making those recordings available to other people. How did this beautiful work you gave out increase my quality of life, says Mary Claire. That's such a great question. It has changed. It has hijacked me, Mary Claire. I went to do the book on the field, thinking I was going to find just science, and I didn't expect to find a completely new spiritual journey. And it's been compulsive for me to continue to answer questions like, why are thoughts a thing that can affect other things? How far can we take this? Are we talking about curing the world with our thoughts, or just shifting a quantum particle? And each became more and more insistent that I answer it. And the Power of 8 just came by accident. And I was just trying to figure out how to scale down the intention experiment into workshops. And suddenly people were getting healed. And so it became really important for me to tell the world about this. But as I said earlier, I was very, very frightened about this. I didn't want, I'm somebody who has been very skeptical of woo-woo and wanting to see evidence and proof. And so I needed to understand what I was doing. I also wanted to make sure I wasn't hurting people. So that became what I've found is, many times I've asked, why me, to the world? And I guess the answer is, I'm here to share this. And this was given to me, this belongs to you too. This belongs to the world. And I guess it's now my mission and purpose is to help you reclaim what you already have inside you. So somebody said, no simple place to meet other than Facebook. Great question. I am setting up a community site on my new website. So stay tuned, and I'll be creating places for meeting other people too. Facebook is now just one of the easiest ways to do it. So can you use the intention on pets and animals? If so, can I share a story about successes? Oh yeah, my master classes have had loads of successes with every kind of animal. From we had a horse that was supposed to be put down, and the group intention, this woman's Power Bait group intended for her horse, and she miraculously healed and carried on living. So, and that was, we've had them for lost cats, all kinds of things like that. How do you keep the intention clear throughout maintaining focus? Hold on to the intention statement. That's from Glow, I think. Hold on to the intention focus and that intention statement, and then you can focus on some visualizations of the outcome. You don't have to, it's not like a mantra where you have to clear your mind of anything. You focus on the outcome. No, can you just keep intention in your heart, or do we need to meet together every time online? It's best to meet. You feel the energy, and I want to show you that now. So let's practice that. Let's feel. Let me see if I have any other big important questions to answer. Okay, let's see. Is it one after another intention? I suggest with one group sitting, it's like at most 2 or 3. Yes, I will put people in the same time zones together. We have our team, Sandra, and we put people together so they have friendly time zones. Okay, let's see. Can I reiterate the use of other modalities in intention groups? Some of our group want to use things like Reiki, and I'm a bit hesitant because I want this work to be pure. Thanks so much, Lori. That's such a great question. I always ask people not to mix modalities. This is not to put down any other modality. I think Reiki is brilliant. I think the work of Joe Dispenza is brilliant. I think the work of Eric Pearl is brilliant. I think the work of all of these healers work and are fantastic. What we don't know is what happens when you mash it together. I know from my studies, the brainwave studies we've carried out with neuroscientists, that it is nothing like meditation. So if you add meditative techniques, will that nullify the effect of group intention work? That's why I ask people, just follow my program, because I've seen it work thousands of times. So, okay, are some topics where this method works better than others or don't work at all? Nothing I've seen so far. I've seen people heal their finances, their health. I mean, where they were given days to live. I mean, that one I talked about, we had somebody who completely turned it around, who had days to live. In our current master class, he was given, a very, very short period of time, and he's had an extraordinary effect. And we have all kinds of stories like that where the impossible happened. we have people healing, getting a new career, healing relationships, healing, and this also happens in the intention experiments too, healing their life's purpose, finding out what they're meant to do next. Okay, let's see. Okay. Somebody says they walked past Cafe Rouge in Wimbledon and I was sitting outside. My energy was powerful. You had a strong positive force. Well, thank you so much, Daniel. I don't know about that, but that's sweet. Okay, so Annette says, is it already completely booked? It seems you're only getting on a waiting list. No, Annette, you went on the 2021, which was a waiting list. 2020, you went on. 2021 is just to open the doors. So if you go on the 2021 Intention Masterclass, you'll find out about it. How long do people in an intention group keep one intention? Well, as I say, try it a few times. And then if it's not working, break it into pieces. Go with baby steps. So yes, and Ginny says, you can join a Power of 8 group without doing the master class. If you've read and studied the books, of course. That's why I'm telling you about connecting and healing through the Power of 8 on our Facebook group. If you don't want to study with me, if you read my books and you feel ready to do that on your own, please do so. I just want people to do Power of 8 groups in whatever capacity. And from some of the people who have said they can't afford my class, there are ways to do all of this for free. You can borrow my book at a library. You can come on Facebook and get on Connecting and Healing Through the Power of 8, or just get 7 friends or even 5 friends and put it together. So, would it be okay to meditate in the morning and join an intention group in the afternoon, says Annette, or should we not mix it at all? That's fine. That is absolutely. I do a meditative yoga every morning and I do other intention work in the afternoon. That is absolutely fine. So let's see. Oh, Lucy said, how long is the discount available? I think it's December 13th. If you go on my website, lynnmctaggart.com, you'll get all of the information about it. Okay, let's experience that, guys, okay? Let's feel what an intention feels like right now. I'd like you to just get comfortable. And I want you to feel the energy between the group as we all do this together, because I invited you on this to experience the Power of 8 group, because I know we're all so isolated now. We're all feeling very, very uneasy about the future. We're feeling stressful about what's happening next. We're feeling like we're not in control. So that's why I want you to find a Power of 8 group and experience the following. Let's get all connected and comfortable in our chairs. Let your body go loose, relax. And as you're doing that, I want you to experience the energy and the connection of everybody on this call now. We have hundreds on Zoom. We have many, many more on Facebook. So let's imagine we're all connected together. We're holding hands via our psychic internet. Let's hold our hands together and take a few deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep breaths in. And now, on the exhalation, feel the connection with everybody. Feel the energy running through your body. Feel the energy up and down your arms. The power of our psychic internet together, our connection. There is no time, there is no space. As we hold on to this intention, and use this kind of thing as a blueprint when you start setting up Power of Eight groups. Our intention today is for each of us to feel safe right now, right here, right now, to feel trust in our immune system and our ability to stay well, to feel trust that we will understand and know how to maintain a good income, safety in our lives, connection with our relations, and healing in our environment. We will feel safe and we will feel free of stress. We will hold on to that feeling of safety right now. That feeling that we are free of stress. We trust our immune system. We trust our income. We trust our livelihood. We trust our ability to stay safe, warm, secure, and with a positive future. Hold all of that, but mainly focus on feeling completely, totally, and permanently free of stress. So that is the intention that I want you to have today. Our intention is that each of us, and hold it for yourself this time, each of us feels completely secure, safe, and free of stress. We are immediately, completely, and permanently free of all stress and full of trust that we will be healed, remain healthy, and be taken care of. Let's bring that down to our hearts. Let's send it out to the universe. Let's keep it ourselves as well. Let's feel safe and secure in this intention group, in this powerful energy that has our back, that will keep us safe. Let's just hold on to it for a few moments. As you're doing so, viscerally feel that you are not alone. You are always part of a greater whole. Feel the connection and also feel yourself, the stress leaving your body, the uncertainty leaving your body. Feel the connection you always have. You're never alone. Everyone else intending for each other. Everyone else wanting to keep each other safe. Just see yourself feel together what that feeling of safety feels like. And now let go of that intention. Trust the process. And in your own time, come back onto this webinar. Now, come back to earth. Feel your body now. Take a few deep breaths. Come back onto the call. Now that intention was a little bit more general than I normally would do, but I wanted you to experience getting over stress, feeling safe, feeling secure. And I want you to imagine how much more marked and amplified that would be if you're intending every week for a group and when they're intending for you. Imagine this is a group of strangers, and I really, really emphasize that it's even better when it's not friends, when it's a group of strangers, because the powerful feeling of having a group of strangers sending you unconditional love is extraordinarily healing. So see if you can try that. If you want instruction for me, come and check out my masterclass. If that's not something that you're able to afford or do at this time, there are ways to do a Power of 8 group completely for free. Of course, putting connecting and healing with the Power of 8, going to that page on Facebook and just advertising or joining a group in your time zone, you can do that. And by advertising, I mean just posting and saying, hey, I'm in Pacific time and I need some other people in this group. Or, as I say, if you come on my masterclass, we'll put you into groups and monitor your progress. So whatever works for you, but the point is, have a Power of 8 group and find out how this is a fast track to the miraculous, to healing, to keeping you safe and well during this uncertain time. And when you have a Power of 8 group, unlike what we're doing now, you never walk alone. So why wait when you've been waiting all of your life? Thank you so much for being part of this. If you have any further questions, if you pop them on Facebook, we will check the chat here. We'll see if we can answer anything on Facebook. Love seeing you all. Thank you so much for coming. And, you know, organize a Power of 8 group and find out for yourself. Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye.